So we've reached the final lesson of core concepts, which is DXY consolidations. DXY consolidations, when to trade those exotic pairs and how to do relative strength analysis. When the dollar index consolidates, smart money will allow the crosses to move, and when this happens, we look at those individual currency futures charts. And we can compare the following: strong versus a weak currency, strong versus a consolidating currency, and a weak versus a consolidating currency. Now, when is it most likely that the dollar index will consolidate? When it is at equilibrium of a higher time frame range, when we have high impact news late in the week and none early in the week, pre-major high impact US news events such as NFP, CPI or FOMC, in London session when the Asian session was extremely large, and then in New York session when London session was extremely large. Now that we know when the dollar is likely to consolidate, we can start looking for signatures in price to tip its hand to us that consolidation is about to occur. Now, credit to Braveheart for this candlestick understanding. So how to anticipate consolidations with inside ranges. This is fractal and can be applied to all time frames. So over here we've got our first candlestick, right? We've got a open, high, low, close. Over here, next candle is an inside bar, right? So on this one we don't take out previous daily high, nor do we take out previous daily low, right? So our first candle now becomes our inside range high and inside range low, and that looks something like this. The next candle needs to take out either the high or the low of the inside range candle. If it does not, then we can anticipate a longer term consolidation. So now this third candle fails to take out that inside range high or low, and then we can expect a extended consolidation to occur. Now an example on a candlestick chart, we've got that US dollar index over here, daily chart. Over here we've got our first candle, right, closing inside the previous candle. So now we've got a inside range high and inside range low formed, which looks something like this, right? Next candle needs to take out the inside range high or low, and failure to do so will result in an extended consolidation. Over here we can see that third candle failed to take out the inside range high or that inside range low, and now we can expect a extended consolidation, and we can look for those exotic pairs. And over here you see how long it consolidates, right? We're still staying inside that inside range high or inside range low. If DXY is consolidating on the daily chart, we need a daily drawn liquidity or directional bias for the individual currencies. However, if DXY is consolidating on an hourly chart, for example, for an intraday play, then we only need to look at the intraday 1 hour drawn liquidity for those individual currencies. So DXY consolidating, then we analyze individual currency futures chart, and then we compare one of the 3 options we covered in those previous slides. So over here we can anticipate that extended consolidation, right? Because we got Monday's high is that inside range high, and then Monday's low is that inside range low. The third candle fails to take out that range, and we can see it extends into Thursday and Friday consolidating. And how does that look like on a 1 hour chart? Well, it's one big consolidation. So now we see DXY is consolidating. Now we need to look at the individual currency futures charts and match those 2 currencies with one of the following of 3 criteria. Now again, to remind you, the options are strong versus a weak currency, strong versus a consolidating currency, and then a weak versus a consolidating currency. And alternatively, when DXY consolidates, we can also trade Euro GBP, right? Because it's a cross which moves when DXY is consolidating. So over here we got a Canadian dollar futures chart. Over here starts that consolidation, right, on DXY, and we're gonna focus on that Thursday and Friday price action. We are in premium of the range. We are forming a daily bearish order block over here, and we can see Thursday and Friday is reacting of that bearish order block, and we're continuing down into discount, which is the draw on liquidity. Zooming in on that 1 hour chart, right, that intraday chart, and we know after Wednesday that inside range is still holding on the DXY. We can expect Thursday and Friday to be good movers for those exotic crosses. So we see that Canadian dollar futures chart over here. We are in bearish order flow. We have sell side liquidity down here in discount, our drawn liquidity, and we're going to be focusing on Thursday and Friday for this one. So we know Canadian dollar futures is bearish. Now that we identified a bearish currency in this case, which is the Canadian dollar, we need to match this with a bullish currency or a consolidating currency. So over here we've got a euro futures chart, right? The daily chart. We can see it's consolidating right now on Thursday and Friday as well. So we're going to match up that bearish currency, which is the Canadian dollar, with a consolidating currency, in this case the euro. Over here we've got the 1 hour chart, and we can clearly see this is a consolidating currency. So DXY is consolidating. Now we've got our exotic pair protocol. Pair up a bullish currency with a bearish currency or a consolidating currency, and pair up a bearish currency with a bullish currency or a consolidating currency. Now we're trying to find the cross, right? So we had that Canadian dollar chart, which was bearish, right? And then we had that euro chart, which was consolidating. Now we've got euro against the Canadian dollar paired up as our cross, and euro is consolidating, so it's moderately to extremely bullish in this case, euro Canadian dollar. So over here we've got that euro Canadian dollar daily chart, right? We found out our exotic pair protocol, and we're gonna go with this pair. And over here we're sitting in discount. Over here we got this daily bullish order block, and the mean threshold of that daily bullish order block is being held. We are in discount, so it's likely that we're gonna draw into premium. And think about the draw on liquidity, right? It's above here with those buy stops. And on what day do we want to focus our attention? We know after Wednesday that DXY was in an extended consolidation, so Thursday and Friday is highly likely to be a good mover for those exotic pairs. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? So again, we also got a swing low formed here, right, on that key level. Think about that previous lesson about daily swing highs and lows, right? We're forming it at the key level, and then we're going to focus on day number 4, right, and day number 5, which is Thursday over here, running those previous daily highs. So over here we've got the 1 hour chart for euro Canadian dollar. We know our draw on liquidity is on the buy side, and we're going to focus on Thursday and Friday again, right, because we know after Wednesday DXY is consolidating, and we're going to focus our attention on for finding a buy setup for euro Canadian dollar. Now without the annotations we can see this chart going into bullish order flow, but with annotations we can find our setup, right? With our understanding of the open high low close and open low high close of the daily candle, right? That power of 3, we want to be a buyer below midnight opening price. We can actually see this bullish order block formed over here is being held, and price drops below that midnight opening price to accumulate those long orders and then continue to push up into our draw on liquidity. And even on Friday we can focus on this again. We drop down a little bit, forming a high resistance liquidity run down here, right? We take out this candle's low over here, so we have that on our side of structure. Then a bullish order block is being formed, and we can see those down close candles are supporting price to go up higher and eventually into our draw on liquidity. So now how do we make sure we have the strongest or the weakest currency? We can compare closely correlated pairs against each other, such as the euro against the pound, right? The euro GBP, or Australian dollar versus the New Zealand dollar, which is AUD NZD. If we know EuroCAD is likely to be bullish from our analysis of the individual futures contracts, we can then compare euro GBP to compare which is stronger between the euro and the pound, and then we have the pick of the absolute best pair to trade. So if euro GBP is bullish, then the euro is stronger than the pound, and then in the next slides we will see that euro GBP was indeed bullish, so euro CAD is better longs than GBP CAD. As mentioned as option number 2 for the exotic pair protocol, when DXY is or is likely to consolidate, we can trade euro GBP on its own, as there will now be volatility in the crosses and clean price action moves. So when money leaves one market, it goes into another market. So over here we've got a Euro British Pound daily chart, right? So we're going from internal range to external range, right? So we've got that daily fair value gap over here in discount. We've got our premium levels up here, and then that external range liquidity buy stops. Now we know, because of that inside range on DXY, right, that Monday's candle has not been violated by Tuesday and Wednesday, we expect DXY to consolidate further into the week. So we're going to be focusing again on that Thursday and Friday's candle for Euro GBP. So over here we're going into a intraday chart. We've got a 1 hour chart for Euro British Pound. We've got a market maker buy model. We've got our original consolidation up here, right? We've got sell side of the curve until we hit that key level right over here, that discount fair value gap on the daily chart. Now, with DXY consolidating early in the week and extending further in the week, we can focus on Thursday and Friday's candle expansion up higher into those external range liquidity buy stops. So how does that look like? We outline our New York midnight opening price line. As always, right, we want to be a buyer below this line and a seller above it. And in this occasion, we're going to look for buy stop. So we want to be a buyer below that. Is there any PD array supporting our idea for this buy? Yes, we've got this bullish order block over here, right? The mean threshold of this bullish order block over here is supporting price up higher, right? And we're continuing our path into buy stops. So over here, again, New York midnight price line, right? We drop below, hitting that discount array, and then we can focus on buys even on Friday. Over here, we've got that order block formed at the middle of the day, right? Around end of New York session. Price is still being supported because we're on buy side of the curve, right? We want to see those down close candles support price action into higher prices, which happens over here. And then again on the next day, Friday, we have this bullish order block formed over here, and you can see price action is moving away from it, and eventually we clear out those external range liquidity buy stops.